Okay, hello there. This is Marika from Athens. Thank you for the opportunity to convey an idea of what's happening here. And I shall try to give you a very short summary in 5 minutes. I must say, things are so bad that you can actually do it in 5 minutes. You don't have to say a lot. So, although I'm an economist, I would like to start from the political situation, and especially the complete writing off of democracy. What is happening in Greece reminds people of political systems that have not existed in Europe for centuries. We have a political system now. We're being governed by a government that was not elected, that was appointed. And the Greek parliament has no majority party in it. Right now, there is no political party that can be considered responsible for the policies applied. So not only do we have an appointed government, but we also have no parliamentary majority to take responsibility. This is as of last Sunday, and the latest vote on these austerity measures. So what happened last Sunday was that both the big parties had about a fourth of their members of parliament did not vote the party line. The party line of both the big political parties, New Democracy and PASOK, the socialists, was for the austerity measures. And about a fourth of each party, of their members in parliament, did not vote. So they were placed outside the party. That was the threat issued by the leadership of each party, that if you don't vote the party line, consider yourself thrown out. And this is what happened. So today we have this very strange, dangerous situation where you have a parliament that has no majority and you have a government that's not elected. And of course, a prime minister that's not elected. So on the question of democracy, what is happening is, as I say, unheard of. It is contrary to any idea of democracy, at least the way we know what it means in Europe. And this is not just sad, this is dangerous. I would also like to add the rise of populism. In the appointed government, there was a third participant. Apart from the two big parties, there was a third participant, a very small, extreme right-wing party. Now, these guys resigned from the government because they say that the government is not doing the right things. Can you imagine the extreme right-wing blaming the government for not doing enough and resigning from it, the appointed government? So this is the political mess and autarky we are in right now. That's on the political side. On the social side, there is fear. There's fear. People are afraid because every day in the news and almost throughout the day, you hear about new measures, new cuts from all the kind of expenses, public expenditure that the government considers it easiest to put its hands on. So again, they're talking of cutting pensions. They cut the pensions in 2010. That was the first the cut in the process of the austerity in Greece. So they reduced pensions by about 15% in 2010. They increased taxation on pensions, on the lowest pensions and on all pensions in 2011. And in 2012, they're saying they're going to reduce pensions again. So pensions are a big thing. The other thing is, of course, the minimum wage is being reduced. The minimum wage was just under 700, that's gross, and it's come down to just under 500 gross again. And this is hitting against the private sector. they've also introduced a 22% cut across the board in wages of the private sector. So we have another spate of measures that are putting the Greek households, the Greek people, young and old, they're putting it in a very difficult position of trying to survive. In addition to what one hears on TV in the news, and of course all day long there are the TV is playing a role of making putting extra emphasis on the dangers of not implementing the austerity measures. The TV and the media are playing a very negative role in creating this kind of social climate of fear. But in addition to what one hears on TV, there's the uncertainty. The people are, for one thing, those who have some money deposited in the banks are scared that, okay, there's going to be a default, we're going to lose our money, so they go and take the money out of the bank. And I mean, that's the way to have a bank run. That's the way to get banks to just disappear. And then people go and they buy loads of stuff and put it away, hoard it, because there's going to be a default, and I don't know, it's like the Third World War. So there's a social climate of uncertainty and fear and panic, and of course there's a lot of anger. So for one thing, people are trying to survive, and that explains the sort of rushing to the supermarket to buy stuff, but also they're expressing their anger at the political leadership. There's a growing anti-German feeling over here. There's a growing anti-German feeling, which is unfortunate, because I know lots of Germans. I have a lot of German friends, very close friends, who are sending messages of solidarity. I know there have been rallies in Germany in support of the Greek case. So, but unfortunately, in the same way that at the beginning of the crisis, there was an anti-Greek climate growing in Germany, now there's an anti-German climate growing in Greece. So what you have is disintegration of European unity. I wouldn't say the European Union, because the European Union is actually, the leadership of the European Union is responsible for what's happening. It's their policies that have brought this tremendous state of affairs, which I'm describing the Greek case. I think that, you know, one can find many parallels in other countries of the EU, in Spain or Portugal. Greece is an extreme case. So the European leaderships do bear the responsibility for what's happening. But right now we have a growing feeling of disunity, of things falling apart in Europe. And this is very, very sad. And this is a sign of more things to come, which go beyond the public debt crisis. My feeling is that unless this very bad turn of events is halted at some point, unless there's a turnaround, we're heading down a very dangerous way. Well, I think the first thing, for one thing, let me just say that the German officials are wrong in what they're saying. The austerity measures that were introduced in 2010, even before the bailout, in January 2010, the first bailout was agreed in May 2010. In January 2010, there was an increase in the VAT, in value-added tax, from 19 to 23%. So the austerity measures have been going on for 2 years now. And the austerity measures have reduced the size of the economy. In the past, last year, in 2011, the economy shrank by about 7%. That's production shrunk. And in 2010, the economy again was reduced by about nearly 4%. So in 2 years' time, the economy has been reduced in size by 10%. And this is what they want. They want the economy to deflate. They want wages and prices to go down. And it's happening. So I take it very badly when I hear that the promises are not being kept. Probably, and I assume what Mr. Schäuble and the other people say, that what they have in mind is that the Greek government has not succeeded in selling off the state assets at the rate that they agreed in May 2010, when they said you have to sell off, sort of state assets to the amount of 50 billion euro. And right now, I understand this is a very high target. I mean, this is apart from the fact that, of course, that selling state assets doesn't solve the problem. One could argue that this is a market. It's a buyer's market. You don't sell things when things are as bad as they are right now. So that's my answer to the remarks by German officials. Now, whether we should leave the euro or not, I've always been of the opinion that leaving the euro is not a solution. Exiting the euro is not a solution. At least within the euro, you are fighting along with other people with the common aim. Because exiting the euro simply means you're going into a kind of competitive devaluation process. Okay, so the Greeks get their drachma back and they redevalue it, and the Spaniards get their peseta, and I'm right? It's peseta. So and they devalue it, and so on. So this doesn't get you anywhere. However, my feeling is that the way things are going, we will have no option. There will be, even this government, with all its mistakes and the wrong decisions that have been made, because I strongly believe that the government under Yorgos Papandreou has a lot to, they should really, they did many things wrong back in 2010. They handled the whole thing very wrongly. But even they, with their kind of neoliberal ideas and sort of pro-German whatever stand, even they won't be able to stay within the euro, because we're being pushed out of the euro, whether we like it or not. I'm against leaving the euro, but there comes a point when there's not much you can do. Now the Troika, the European Union, and so on, don't want elections to take place in Greece, and they say they have demanded that the leaders of the two big political parties, PASOK and New Democracy, submit in writing their willingness to carry on with the same policies even after the elections, irrespectively of who wins the elections. And they did it. That was a condition for the new bailout. They actually did it. Both Papandreou and Samaras sent letters, signed letters to the European Union and so on, and the IMF, saying that we commit to continue with the same policy. Now, of course, the polls show that there is a great turn, a significant preference for left-wing parties. So now, if in the FT yesterday, there was an article about these dangerous leftists who are not for the bailout, because the left-wing parties don't want the bailout. They say this is all very wrong. So now they want the left-wing parties to say that they will continue with the same policy. And if they don't, they say, well, don't have elections, just carry on the way you are, it's fine. So we have a huge issue of democracy. I mean, it's just been buried away over here. If we carry on like this is dictatorship. This happened, this is as of last Sunday, and the latest vote on these austerity measures. So what happened last Sunday was that both the big parties had about a fourth of their members of parliament did not vote the party line. The party line of both the big writing off of democracy. What is happening in Greece reminds people of political systems that have not existed in Europe for centuries. We have a political system now, we're being governed by a government that was not elected, that was appointed, and the Greek parliament has no majority party in it. Right now, there is no political party that can be considered responsible for the policies applied. So not only do we have an appointed government, but we also have no parliamentary majority to take responsibility. A very short summary in 5 minutes, and I must say, things are so bad that you can actually do it in 5 minutes. You don't have to say a lot. So, although I'm an economist, I would like to start from the political situation, and especially the complete Okay, hello there. This is Marika from Athens. Thank you for the opportunity to convey an idea of what's happening here. And I shall try to give you